Hello everybody, this is Kay. Welcome to my channel, Junking with Gigi. I am going to do a video. I'm just going to catch you up on what I've done so far on my journal for Junk Journal July 2024. I got a little bit behind already. My husband and I went out of town for Independence Day, and I didn't plan well enough to get things ready ahead of time to bring with me, so I had some catching up to do when we got back. So I'm just going to show you what I've done for days 4 through 8. I had already done a video before on the first 3 prompts, so I'll link that video below, as well as the one where I just kind of made my journal or showed you how I made my journal and the box cover for it. So day 4's prompt was labels, and what I did here was I went through my stash and gathered up a bunch of different labels. And I also thought of, when I was thinking about the prompt labels, of all the different labels, or should I say titles, maybe even roles would be a better way to say, of what I've been throughout my life, the different roles, starting with daughter when I was born. There, daughter. But as you can see, I just wrote all over this page after I collaged it with a bunch of different labels, all the different labels that I've had, or roles I've had during my life: granddaughter, cousin, mother, grandmother, niece, wife, etc. And then I wrote a little bit bigger down here, mainly child of God. And then for day 5, it was lettering. And I have some book pages from an old calligraphy practice book. And I've pulled a few pages out and I did some waxing. And this was one of the front pages that had the words lettering and calligraphic, I'm not sure how to pronounce that. But I just kind of tore those pieces out of that page that I had waxed, and I sewed around the edges. And the reason I did that, and not only does it look really neat, but I was worried about gluing the waxed paper down on here if it would stay on my page. So I think by putting the threads stitching on there, it kind of gave the glue something to grab onto to hold it onto this page. And I just kind of left them as tuck spots. And then I went through my lettering binder. I still do every once in a while, get that out and practice some lettering on my own. And this is one of the pieces that I had done some time ago in some lettering. Be grateful. And I am grateful right now. I'm really grateful for Meg and Get Messy Art for putting on this collaboration, because it's a lot of fun. I really enjoy participating in these collaborations. Okay, this page I intentionally left blank because it's lined and I want to do some actual journaling. So I left it blank with the intention of coming back and journaling on it. Whether I actually get to that or not, I don't know. I can always come back and use this. There's no rule saying we have to do the prompts all in order. So I could come back and use that if I happen to run out of room later. Okay, so the next 2 pages are wildlife and window. And on wildlife, I just took some black scrap paper and I kind of embossed it with this kind of wood grainy looking embossing folder on my little Sizzix machine. And then I just took some white acrylic paint in my finger and kind of brushed over the top to give it this white appearance here. And then I just tore it up into strips to try and look like a tree trunk and some branches. I have a little image. This was a stamp that I heat embossed. So this is like manually embossed, and this is heat embossed, this little fox kind of looking behind him. And then the background, I had just taken like a stencil that I had that looked like some kind of animal print and stenciled on the background. And then for window, I had actually watched Meg do her video for this prompt, and she did a little see-through window, and I kind of copied her on that. And I put some wildflowers. I don't know if you can see that. You can see all the way through it. I put some wildflowers in my window. Just did a little bit of collaging, and then I found this quote on Pinterest. If a window of opportunity appears, don't pull down the shade. So I just took some scraps, and this is some washi tape that I've had for a while. For day 8, I actually have some process video here. I woke up in the middle of the night to work on, and couldn't get back to sleep, so I decided to work on my prompt for that day, which was observe. And I went ahead and recorded it, so I'm doing a little bit of a voiceover here. I don't do this too often, but sometimes when I don't want to make noise, I just record it and then do a voiceover. So here I'm just kind of rummaging through my little box of scraps that I've been throwing things into for a while. This is my box specifically for Junk Journal July, and just been throwing different scraps and items into this little tub for a while to use for this collaboration. So I'm just grabbing out some different scraps, and I'm gonna do, for starters, a little bit of collaging on this page. I have this leftover piece of vellum here. I had torn out a piece of it to use to emboss that little fox on. And I think what I'm going to do here is grab my trimmer and trim this down to an even rectangular piece so that I can make an envelope out of it. I'm just going to trim out some of these excess little folded over edge pieces just to eliminate a little bit of bulk from my edges. I decided to take this to my sewing machine and do a zigzag stitch around the 3 sides of this envelope, because once again, it looks really neat, as well as it'll help the glue to have something to grab onto to help it stick to the page better. I'm going to cut down a piece of this tea-dyed cardstock that I have so it'll fit inside this envelope. I'm writing out a little poem that came to mind when I thought of the prompt observe. Doesn't always necessarily imply watching, but sometimes listening as well. And this is an old little poem that I've been hearing since my childhood, and I've never forgotten it. A wise old owl sat on an oak. The more he heard, the less he spoke. The less he spoke, the more he heard. Why can't we all be like that wise old bird? I wanted to put the word observe on my envelope somehow, so I pulled out these, I had picked this up at a yard sale. It's just a whole pad full of punch-out alphabet letters in different colors, and I was looking through here, but in the end I decided these were way too big, so I was going to have to find something else to use. I don't think I could have fit the word observe on this page with these letters. They're pretty large. So instead I grabbed out an ink pad. This is sepia colored, and some alphabet stamps that I've had from Stampin' Up. I've had these for years, and I decided to just stamp the word observe on the front of this vellum envelope. And as just a little bit of a final touch, I put a little piece of lace on the flap of this envelope. I'm going to trim it down a little bit narrower and then just glue this on there. This was day 9, which was scraps. This is just some collaging I did in the background with a bunch of my little scraps. I have this little box. Whenever I have some neutral pieces of paper left over, I'll go through and I'll just make little kind of mini collage pieces out of them and keep them in this box. But I just collaged the background with some of those scraps. This was an image I took out of an old botanical book that I disassembled to get used to kind of fussy cut the images. And then I just gathered up some scraps. These 3 are watercolor scraps from when I was playing around with my watercolors one day. And this is a scrap from one of the digitals for this collaborative, actually. And this was a scrap left over from that wildlife prompt a couple days ago. So, and some of these, all of these except maybe the black, I can write on the back of. I can journal some things on there if I want to. And I just kind of made this little tuck spot for those scraps. And that is what I have so far in my journal for this collaboration for Journal July 2024. Thank you so much for watching today. If you haven't yet, please click that subscribe button. Give me a thumbs up and feel free to share my channel. Thank you so much for watching today. God bless.